There is a hustle in the oil patch that's going virtually unchecked by regulators, and it's creating a looming financial and environmental crisis for Western Canada. As energy prices have continued to drop, large companies are bundling distressed oil and gas wells and selling them for as little as $1. This rampant trade has been helping them shed hundreds of millions of dollars in cleanup costs from their books. Smaller, sometimes financially strained companies are eager to buy up the cheap wells and drain any remaining revenue. But if the strained companies go bankrupt, the cleanup tab for defunct wells in Alberta, BC, and Saskatchewan could climb as high as $26.9 billion. Ultimately, this scheme could leave the industry and the public to shoulder the financial fallout.
So this trade in junk assets is one major issue. But there's also an environmental liability tied to the growing number of inactive oil and gas wells on the landscape. There's a life cycle to these wells. An active well produces oil or gas, and sometimes both. A well is considered inactive when it stops pumping, often because the economics don't justify it as prices drop. If these inactive wells aren't properly sealed, they pose dangers to people, animals, and the environment. With that in mind, consider there are a total of 610,696 oil and gas wells in the 3 western provinces. Of those, there are now 122,456 inactive wells. That's about 1 in 5 wells sitting idle in Alberta and Saskatchewan. In BC, it's about 1 in 4.
As oil and gas prices drop, producers have been more reluctant to spend the money to clean up their wells. Companies often leave them inactive for years, even decades. They say they are waiting for prices to rise again to make the wells profitable. Some provincial regulators have begun to tighten the rules around owning and swapping unprofitable wells. But these steps have done little to slow the trade or the number of wells left dormant. Unlike many energy-producing American states, which legislate cleanup timelines, none of the 3 western provinces do. That means companies can and do put off remediation indefinitely.
Well, what's happening in Alberta is that the commerce of the business is to take these high-producing wells, produce them for as long as you can, and when the well peters out and the economics become marginal, you pawn the well off to another company that likely doesn't have the capability to clean it up, and the company can sort of walk away. What's happened in the last 2 years here in Alberta is that the whole process has just gotten more blatant.
The reality is that the number of inactive wells is likely to grow without firm cleanup timelines. And the trade of unprofitable wells will keep booming if regulators don't crack down.